Hi guys! Welcome ulit sa YouTube channel natin. Now today guys, we will try to continue yung discussion natin sa double integration method. Now last time kasi, nakadiscuss ako ng counting mga principles. Yan, yung counting principles sa double integration method. Now anyway, if ever hindi nyo pa nakita yung previous video, ilalagay ko na lang yung link sa ibaba. Now last time, nakagawa tayo ng isang example lang. Ito lang. Okay, now anyway, as promised, isosolve natin to. And as requested ng mga students ko, meron akong another example. So, bali, tatlo yung examples natin dito sa video na to. Okay, so anyway guys, sa video na to, isosolve ko manually itong number 1, 2, and 3 problems using double integration method. And maliban doon, we will actually check our answers using an application. Okay, so maganda to kasi if ever, for example, nakasolve ka na sa plates mo or sa quizzes mo or kung ano man yung sinosolve mo, practice problems, minsan kasi hindi mo alam kung tama ba yung answer mo, hindi. Basta meron ka lang sagot, okay? And then ang mangyayari, tatanungin mo yung classmate mo, oy, anong yung sagot mo? Ang tendency, magkaiba kayo ng sagot, so hindi nyo alam kung sino yung mali. Na what if kayong dalawa yung mali, okay? So anyway, dito na papasok yung application, no, to check yung EpicFem, to check your answers. Okay, so I hope na tapusin niyo yung video. So kahit na medyo mataas, okay? So anyway guys, I think yan lang ata, no? So let's start, and I hope na makatulong ako, especially sa mga nagtitake ng online class theory of structures. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so i-transfer ko muna. Transfer ko muna tong problem natin. So, paano ba to? Ilalagay ko muna dito. So, sa problem number 1 guys, yan. Meron tayong variable yung given natin. Tingnan nyo, variable pa din yung given natin. So, I think yung sagot natin dito, same lang din. So, by the way guys, sa problem na to, sa mga example problems ko dito, yung first problem natin, variable yung givens. Okay, for example, yung flexural rigidity, variable. Yung loads natin, variable din. Okay, so expect the reactions natin, variable din. But sa problems number 2 and 3, hindi na variable. Okay, so yeah, I think meron na tayong exact answers talaga dito. Okay, so anyway, sa lahat ng problems na to, tinanong kung ano yung yung elastic curve equation. Okay, and then a specific point kung saan hinahanap din yung displacement. Now, sa number 1, ang point C, hinahanap yung displacement. Sa number 2, ang point A. And sa number 3, which is ito din, ang point C din. Okay, so anyway, check natin. Lipat ko muna ha. Now, by the way guys, na-notice ko na ang pangit pala nun ng yung ibang yung ibang videos ko ba, medyo pangit yung yung penmanship, so sorry talaga. Don't worry, I'll do my best not to adjust my yung penmanship ko. So anyway guys, yan, meron tayong beam. So again, ang first nang gagawin, no, is to determine muna kung ilan ba yung moment equations na kukunin mo. Now, at a glance, no, so kung mapapansin nyo sa beam natin, meron tayong dalawang segments. Meron kasi tayong dalawang discontinuity. Now again, ang segments, we can actually identify, no, the number of segments if merong change in cross-section of the beam, merong change in materials of the beam, or merong change of load. Okay, now ang change of load, kung mapapansin nyo, from A to, tingnan nyo, walang, from A, okay, until dito, wala tayong load. So this is actually one segment. Okay, from A to B, lagyan muna natin dito. Yan, A to B. Yan, one segment yan. Okay, from A, asan na yan? Yan, from A to B. Now, sa B, may change of load kasi meron tayong reaction. So, another segment is from B to C. Okay, so since dalawa yung segments natin, dalawa din yung kukunin natin na moment equations. Now, dito na, after no, so since dalawa, ibig sabihin, dalawang beses ka magka-cut. So, sa first cut mo, okay, so siguro nandito, no, yan. And then, the other one is, nandyan. Okay? So, anyway, guys, before kayo mag-cut talaga, so, it is important to establish coordinate points, okay, or yung coordinate axis natin. Now, sa book na ginagamit ko, sinabi niya na maganda daw, okay, na mag-start ka sa left talaga. Now, actually, hindi necessary, no, nasa left lahat ng coordinate points mo. Yung x value ba magsisimula sa left, pwede din actually sa right, but depende na yan sa'yo. Okay, but mas maganda talaga na yun nga, kung sa left ka man o sa right, dapat yung ibang mga cut, for example, pag dito ako nag-refer dito sa left, di ba? So, for example, yan yung x1 ko. Okay? So, pag ito, nag-cut ako, maganda daw na dito din dapat yung x2 mo. Ganun. Which is, ito na lang din yung susundin natin sa, kasi ito yung sa problem, kasi yan yung nasa, okay, yan yung given. But anyway, pwede actually guys, pwede na ang x2 mo is hindi dyan. Pwede ka actually magsimula dito sa x2. Yan. Depende na sa'yo. Actually, same pa din yung sagot. But yun nga, mahihirapan ka later on. Like sa boundary conditions, iba-iba yung values mo, or sa boundary conditions, iba-iba yung values mo, or sa slopes, later on sa boundary condition, dapat opposite yung sign. Okay, so mahihirapan ka na. So as much as possible guys, kung ano yung reference point mo sa first na cut, yan na lang din yung reference point mo sa second na cut. So kaya, nandito yung reference point mo sa second na cut. Okay? So, sir, bakit meron tayong x1 and x2? Now, gaya nga ng sabi ko, dalawa yung moment equations natin, or dalawa yung elastic curve equations na mangyayari. So, di ba yung elastic curve natin is actually a function of x. So, yung answer talaga na makukuha natin is y as a function of x. So, siguro y is equals 5x cubed plus 2x squared plus 5, ganun. Okay? But, yun nga, since dalawa yung equations natin, medyo malilito ka kapag nagsusolve ka na ba. Ito is y, y, tapos yung kabila, y din. Okay? And then later on, ang mangyayari kasi guys, meron tayong mga continuity conditions or boundary conditions na kailangan natin yung dalawang equations. Na malilito ka na kung asan dito yung isa, asan dito. So, mas maganda na i-identify natin. Okay? So, yung equation dito sa kabila, okay, from A to B, that is y1. Kaya x1 yan, yung cut. Then, yung equation sa kabila naman is y2. So, yeah, kaya x2 din ang cut. Okay? So, one at a time lang guys, yung pag-cut natin. So, I think, una na lang, no? Una kong isosolve na moment equation is yung from A to B. Okay? So, pag nag-solve ako sa equation from A to B, I will actually cut the beam dito, no? Paano ba to? Diyan. Kakat ko yung beam dyan. Okay? Now, when I cut the beam there, ang mangyayari guys, you can actually consider yung left or yung right. Okay? So, anyway, kung ano man yung consider mo na na section, yung left man or right, same pa din yung sagot mo. Okay? But, I think mas maganda na ang i-consider mo na section is yung kaunti lang yung forces. For example, dito, itong section na to, dalawa yung forces. Diba? Pangit. Dito, isa lang ang force. So, okay tayo dito sa kabila. So, I think, mas maganda na i-consider natin yung left section. Now, the left section, guys, notice na we actually need AY. Kaya before kayo mag-consider ng sections, I think mas maganda talaga na isolve nyo na lang yung lahat ng reactions. Okay? So solve muna natin yung reaction guys. So when I try to solve for the reactions guys, always consider the whole system. Baka kasi yung section lang yung i-consider mo. This is A, this is 2A. Okay? Ito yung AY. Uy, yung... Sorry, and then ito yung BY. Okay? So, solving for AY, I will just sum up moments at B is equal to 0, guys. So, clockwise is equals counterclockwise. So, clockwise is equals counterclockwise. Okay? So, yung clockwise moment ko, with respect to our original, point B is actually itong P times A. Okay? Actually, yung reaction natin na AY, clockwise moment din. So, plus AY times moment arm na 2A. And then that will be equal to the counterclockwise moments. Now, wala tayong counterclockwise moment dyan, so that is actually equal to 0. So we can now solve our AY. So I hope you will agree, no, na AY is actually equal to negative, tama ba? Negative, tama. Negative P over 2. Bakit? Kasi ang mangyayari dyan, parang AY times 2A equals negative PA. Okay, so i-divide natin by 2A, cancel out. So, makancel out yung A. So, mangyayari, ang AY is negative P over 2 na lang. Okay? So, let's try to solve for BY. So, to solve for BY, guys, you can actually sum up moments sa A or just sum up forces. Vertical is equal to 0. Upward is equals downward. Okay? So, ano yung upward forces natin? We have the BY, yung AY, at saka BY. Okay? And then that must be equal to the downward forces. Now, yung downward forces natin is yung P lang. Okay? Now guys, sir, bakit negative p over 2? Bakit negative, sir? So again, negative hindi dahil na mali yung sagot mo. Negative means mali lang yung assumption mo. Nag-assume kasi tayo na ang AY is going up. So since negative yan, meaning ang AY pala is going down. Okay? So anyway, gaya ng tinuturo ko sa mga students ko, wag na lang nilang pakialaman yung signs, okay, or yung assumption nila. Just retain your assumption na pataas, but always retain din yung sign, okay? Kung negative ang AY, dapat negative din yan sa whole process ng pag-solve mo. Okay? So anyway, this is negative p over 2 plus by is equal to p. Therefore, I can now actually solve for by. Okay? By is now equal to 1.5p. Tama, di ba? 1 plus p over 2 or p plus p over 2. So that is now 1.5p. So anyway, ilagay ko to dito, ha? So I think buburahin ko na lang to, no? So yung AY ko is actually negative 0.5p. And then yung BY ko is, ano yung BY ko? 1.5p. Okay? So once meron tayo nyan, we can now cut, okay, yung section AB. So pag i-cut ko dyan, again, ano yung section na i-consider ko? Yung left, no? So I'll consider the left section, yan. So AY is equal to negative 0.5p. So pag nag-cut ako guys, huwag niyong kalimutan, pag nag-cut tayo, maglalabasan na yung mga internal forces. So yung shear at saka yung moment. Again, always assume positive moment for this. Mag-assume ka lang na yung moment positive. Okay? Para, kasi yung ginamit kasi na moment in deriving the equation, yung moment curvature equation, positive kasi. Okay? Kaya dapat positive din yung assumption natin dito. So, ganun lang, positive moment. Again guys, naalala nyo pa kung ano yung positive moment? I hope naalala nyo pa. No, the positive moment, it doesn't mean na clockwise or counterclockwise. Positive moment ang mangyayari pag positive ang bending. And then, positive ang bending pag it will bend the beam, no? Concave downward. Mag-smile ang beam, di ba? No? Nag-smile ang beam due to these moments. Yan, yung dalawa yan. Okay? So anyway, I think after nya, no, once nakuha na, nag-cut na tayo, we can now create our moment equation. So, summation of moments lang ako. Summation of moment at the cut, okay, is equal to 0. Clockwise is equals counterclockwise. So dito ako nag-sum up ng moment guys, dyan. Okay? So clockwise is equals counterclockwise. So ano yung clockwise moments ko? So the clockwise moments ko, ito lang. Yung AY multiplied, nakalimutan ko yung, yan, yung dimension pala natin. So this is actually x1 from our figure. Yan o, x1. Okay? So AY times x1, and then that must be equal to the counterclockwise moment. Now from our figure then, the counterclockwise moment is actually caused by the m. Okay? So yan, meron na tayong equation. Okay? So meaning, by the way, yung AY natin is negative 0.5p. Yan, x1 is equal to m. Okay? Tapos yan, since meron na tayong moment function, okay, so substitute natin sa original moment curvature equation natin. Ano yung moment curvature equation natin? Di ba? Naalala nyo? D squared y over dx squared is equal to m over ei. Okay? So therefore, by the way, palitan ko na lang ito. Palitan ko na lang ito ng y double prime. Okay? So anyway, therefore, ang makukuha natin dito is y. By the way, y1 pala ito, no? So y1 double prime, okay, ei, is actually equal to m. Now, ano yung m natin dito? M is negative 0.5p x1. Okay? So, meron na tayong first moment equation. So, ito guys, ito lang yung i-integrate natin. Okay? Integrate natin, first integration natin, no? So, makukuha natin yung y1 prime, and then yung second is yung y1 na, yung equation na sa y1. Okay? So, anyway, integrate tayo guys. So, first, integrate ko to. So, ang sagot ko is ey y1 prime is equal to, naalala nyo pa kung ano yung integration na, yung integral ng ganito, pag meron tayong polynomial functions. So, kunin ko lang ito, kunin ko lang yung constant, which is negative 0.5p, and then yung variable natin is actually x1 squared over 2. Naalala nyo pa yung integral ng x, di ba, dx, okay, x to the power n. So, ang mangyayari dyan is x n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus C. Huwag nyo kalimutan yung plus C kasi magagalit si ma'am. Okay? Okay, so tanggalin natin dito. So, yan. So, yeah, plus C tayo. Okay? So, C1 na lang kasi later on, meron pa tayong mga constants. So, C1. And then last is EY. Yan, EY. Integrate ko na naman ulit. Integrate ko ulit. So, EY, that must be equal to. So, paano ba to? Ano yung integral dito? So, by the way guys, pag nag-integrate kayo, I think mas maganda guys na sa last part na lang kayo sa last part nyo na lang i-simplify. Okay? Kasi mahirap pa tayo na pag always ka nag-simplify, for example, nag-integrate ka sa dito, sa equation na to, tapos ito, i-simplify mo pa. Okay, and then sa susunod, simplify again. So, medyo matatagalan ka. So, ako, sa last part na ako nagsisimplify na equation ko. Actually, minsan nga, hindi ko na lang simplify, di ba? Tama ba yung term ko? Okay? So, anyway, ang ginagawa ko is, later na lang ako mag-simplify na equation if sure na talaga ako na yun na yung sagot. Okay, so this is now EI, Y. Again, nag-integrate ako. So, ito, magiging negative 0.5p pa din. Okay? But, this time, yung variable mo magiging x1 cube. Okay? Now, this is now 2 times 3. So, that's actually 6. Again, guys, I'll assume na marunong na kayo mag-integrate ng mga polynomials. Okay? So, if ever hindi pa, just pause the video and then check nyo kung tama ba kung naintindihan nyo ba yung integration natin ba. So, again, disclaimer din, minsan, I'm actually recording this live. So, baka, iba kasi pag nasa classroom ka, kasi pag nag-integrate ako, if ever may nakalimutan ako, yung mga students, magsasabi man, sir, nakalimutan mo yung multiply by 3, ganon. Na ngayon, if ever may mali ako, walang magsabi sa akin. So, anyway, ipopost ko na lang yung video if ever may mali, tapos babalikan ko na lang. So, paano ba to? Plus, C1x, again, integral ng constant is constant times x, and then huwag nyo kalimutan yung another constant C2. Magagalit si ma'am. Okay? So, after yan yung, yan na yan. Ito na yung sagot natin. Okay, yan na yung equation. Yan na yung equation ng elastic curve from A to B. Now, unfortunately guys, hindi yan matatanggap kasi meron pa tayo itong, hindi pa natin alam yung C1 and C2. Kasi yung C1 and C2, dapat meron talaga yung values. Kasi nga, constant yan. Nandiyan na papasok yung boundary conditions. Now, before tayong mag-solve sa mga constants, dapat isolve nyo muna lahat ng moment equations. Okay, so na-solve ko na yung first moment equation ko. Now, I will try to solve the other moment equation. Now, yung other moment equation ko, guys, is dahil dito sa segment B to C. Okay? So, kayo guys, ano yung i-consider nyo dito? Yung left or yung right? Okay? From B to C. So, gaya nga ng sabi ko, tingnan nyo ha, ito yung cut, from B to C. So, drawing ko dito. Okay? Diba dito tayo nag-cut? Okay? Diba? Ano yung sabi ko sa inyo? Consider kung saang section mas kaunti lang yung forces. So, if I will try to consider yung left part, dalawa yung forces dyan. Yung left section, isa lang. So, mas maganda na ang left section ang i-consider ko. Now, huwag niyong kalimutan yung mga dimensions natin. Now, yung x2 guys is actually from here, dyan. Okay? So, if I will try to consider yung right part, okay, itong part na to, so, ang mangyayari, ganito yung, yan. So, parang ganito na lang yung matitira. And then, I will actually have a moment here. Yan. Ang tanong, guys, sir, ano yung distance na to, sir? Ano to? Is this still x2? X2 pa din yan? Actually, guys, hindi na yan x2, ha? Ano na yan? So, ang mangyayari, ganito. Sorry. So, ang mangyayari, guys, ganito, guys, ay. Sadali lang, ha? Ito, this is actually our new dimension. Ano yung length na to? Okay, naalala nyo yung total length natin sa beam natin? Yung total length is actually 2A and A, di ba? So, this is now 3A. Okay? Therefore, yung length na to, ito, yung length from here, from the cut to the force P, is actually, yung length na yan, that is now 3A minus X2. Okay? I hope na agree kayo na ang length na yan is 3A minus X2. Therefore, yung section na i-consider ko, guys, buburahin ko muna to, yan. Yung section na i-consider ko is, di ba, ito? So, meron akong moment dito. And then, itong distance na to, this is now 3A minus x2. And then, ito na yung force P. Okay? Naintindihan ninyo? I hope na okay tayo kasi nga, ang kinonsider ko is yung right section. Okay? So, with that, pwede ko nang isolve yung moment equation ko para dito. So, yung moment equation ko para dito is sum up ako ng moments. Okay, sa cut dito. Summation of moments is equal to 0. Clockwise is equals counterclockwise. So, ano yung clockwise moments with respect to our point? Okay, so yung clockwise moments, actually, yung M is actually clockwise, di ba? And then yung load P natin is clockwise din. So, that is now P multiplied by the moment arm. Ano yung moment arm? 3A minus x2. Okay? So, after nyan, that must be equal to the counterclockwise moment. So, ano yung mga counterclockwise moment natin? Wala, di ba? So, this is actually equal to 0. Okay? So, meaning, meron na akong moment. Yan, moment equation ko. So, ang moment equation ko, guys, 3 PA, di ba? 3PA minus P times x2. Tama ba? Mali. Sorry. I-transfer ko pala ito. So, this is now P times 3A minus x2. Anyway, later na lang ako mag-simplify. Okay, so I think okay na yan, no? So, again, ano yun? Yung moment curvature relationship natin, EI, y double prime na, that is now y sub 2. That must be equal to the moment natin dyan. So, yung moment natin is negative P 3A minus x2. Okay? So, meron na tayong dalawa yan. Meron na tayong dalawang moment equations, no? So, integrate natin tong kabila. Now, before ako mag-integrate, guys, I think mas maganda na i-simplify ko muna yung moment na yan. So, negative 3PA plus P x2. I hope agree kayo dyan. Okay? So, now, I'll try to integrate, no? So, EI y prime na lang. Okay? Now, ano yung integral? This is now a constant. Constant yan ha, yung 3PA. So, ang integral niyan is negative 3PA x2. Di ba? x2 kasi yung variable natin. Plus P x2 squared over 2. Okay? And then, wag natin kalimutan yung C. Now, ang C natin dyan, guys, since meron tayong C1 at saka C2, tawagin natin itong C3. And C3. Okay? Now, again, integrate ulit ako. So, EI y2. Now, that must be equal to, so, ito naman, negative 3 PA. And then, yung x sub 2, magiging x sub 2 squared over 2 na yan. Okay? And then, plus, okay? So, itong P, x2, magiging cube na yan. But, yung nasa ibaba, magiging 2 times 3, that is now 6. Again, guys, you can pause the video, okay, para i-check ninyo kung tama ba yung integration ko sa polynomials. Again, I'll just assume muna na marunong na kayo mag-integrate. Okay, and then plus, again, integral ng constant C sub 3x plus C sub 4. Huwag nyo kalimutan ito, yung bago nating constant. Okay, so check down natin, Vic, kung tama na ba? Tama ba yung I hope no na tama. Anyway, malalaman man natin yan kasi pag mali, I'll record the video again. Okay? So anyway guys, yan. Actually, meron tayong sagot but kulang pa. Meron tayong dalawang moment equations. Yan. Meron tayong dalawang elastic curve equations but we actually need the values of the constant. Now, paano natin isosolve yung values ng constants? Dito napapasok yung boundary conditions or at saka yung mga continuity conditions natin. So, let's try to check muna daw. Ito. Ano ba yung mga boundary conditions natin? So, balik tayo dito sa figure natin. Yan. Dito na lang sa, yan. So, sa figure natin, guys, kung mapapansin nyo, ang unang boundary condition natin is obvious, no? Now, let's try to consider muna yung segment AB. Okay? Dapat kasi, meron tayong dalawang boundary conditions for every segment kasi nga, dalawa din yung unknowns niya. Okay? So anyway, kailangan natin ng 4 na boundary condition. So the first boundary condition, guys, is ito, sa support A. Tandaan nyo, guys, always yan, pag merong support, that's one boundary condition considering the deflection kasi walang deflection sa support. Okay? So, meaning, at x1, by the way, x1 lang, at x1 is equal to 0, okay? By the way, guys, take note din na ang values ng, since we are actually cutting on these segments, ang values ng x1 dapat 0 to 2a. Okay? 0 to 2a lang. Hindi pwede na ang x1 magiging 3a yan nandito. Kasi andito man lang yung, okay, yung x1 natin dapat hanggang dito lang, from a to b lang. Kasi para lang siya dito sa elastic curve equation na to. Likewise din, ang x2, hindi pwede na ang x2 is 0. Dapat dito magsisimula yung x2 from b to c. Okay? So, dapat ganon. So, anyway guys, since at A, ang deflection sa A is 0, meron tayong isang boundary condition. Ano yun? Ang isang boundary condition natin dyan, paano ko ba ito ilalagay? Dito na lang. Yan. So, yan, boundary conditions na. So, ang isa sa mga boundary conditions ko is, at x1 is equal to 0, y1 is equal to 0. Okay? Paano ba yan? Ganito, no? At x1 is equal to 0, y1 is equal to 0. Or, parang ganito. Yan. y1, diba? Is equal to 0. Oy, mali. Sorry. Pag ang y1 natin, okay, pag ang x is equal to 0 yan. Okay? So, parang ganyan yung boundary condition natin. So, meron tayong isang boundary condition, guys. Yan. So, paano ba to? Yan, ganyan na lang, 1. Okay? Now, the other boundary condition, guys, makikita natin dyan sa kabilang support. Yan, dito. Yan. So, dito, at x1 is equal to 2a, di ba? At x1 is equal to 2a, y1 is 0 pa din. Di ba? Kasi wala tayong deflection dito. So, at x1 is equal to 2a, y1 is equal to 0. So, balik tayo dito. Yan. So, another boundary condition is at x1 is equal to 2a, okay? y1 is still equal to 0. So, ano yung mukha niyan? So, parang ganito, no? y1 is, ayan. Okay? So, meron tayong pangalawang boundary condition. Okay? Now, yung next natin na boundary condition, let's try to consider yung kabilang segment. Okay? So, paano ba ito? Yan. Now, sa kabilang segment, same pa din. Okay? Now, this time, we are now interested sa x2. Kasi dito na kasi sa kabilang segment. So, I hope you will agree at x2 is equal to 2a, y2 is 0. Diba? At x2 is equal to 2a, y2, or the deflection here, okay, is equal to 0. Yan. So, balik tayo dito. Yan. So, at x2 is equal to 2a, y2 is equal to 0. Therefore, parang ganito, no? So, pag 2a daw, yan, 0 daw yan. Okay? So, okay tayo dyan? So, meron na tayong pangatlong boundary condition. Ang tanong, asan dyan yung pang-apat? Asan dito yung pang-apat na boundary condition? Kasi dapat meron tayong apat na boundary condition. Okay, now, yung pang-apat actually, I think boundary condition din ata yung tawag, no? So, parang continuity condition to. Okay? Now, tingnan nyo, since the elastic curve from A to C is actually, you know, yan, di ba? So, actually, ang mangyayari dyan, guys, parang ganito. Yan. So, if you will try to look at the support at B, so, anyway, ganito na lang. Okay, for example, ganyan yung elastic curve natin. Ay, sorry. Yan, ganyan yung elastic curve natin. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, guys, ang slope dito, okay? Yan. Ang slope niya, if you will try to consider ito from yung first moment, ayan, yung first elastic curve equation natin, that must be equal to the slope din if you will try to consider this, ito, elastic curve equation natin. Ito ba? Same lang sila ng value ng slope. Okay? Now, yeah, so meaning, ang other boundary condition natin is ganito. At x1 is equal to 2a, and at x2 is equal to 2a, okay? May equal daw ang equal daw ang slope nila. Equal ang slope nila. Okay? Yan o, equal ang slope dyan. So, paano mo ito ilalagay? The y2, by the way, this is actually slope, ha? Slope. So, meaning, parang ganito na lang. y1 prime, kasi nga, slope kasi tayo, no? So, y1 prime, and then this is 2a. That must be equal to y2 prime, and then 2a din to. Okay? So, parang ganun yung pang-apat na boundary condition natin. Ito, yan. Okay? Sorry, guys. So, anyway, check natin to. So, yan. Now, again, ha? ang tawag natin dyan is continuity condition. Sorry guys. So, yung continuity condition natin dito is yan. Yung slope, no? Considering this, yung equation natin dito, the slope at B, okay, considering this equation is actually equal to the slope then, dito din, considering this, yan yung equation natin dito. Now, unfortunately guys, medyo mahirap yung boundary condition na to pag iba yung reference point mo sa, sa mga coordinates mo ba ito? Sa x1 at saka x2. Bakit? Tingnan nyo ha. If, for example, yan. For example, ganito. Let's try to consider yung first, yung x1 natin. So, ito yung curve natin, no? Yan yung curve natin. Again, exhaust lang yan. So, ito yung slope dyan sa point na yan. Yan yung slope. Okay? If you try to consider x1, bali, ang coordinate niyan, parang ganito yung slope. Again, sorry. So, that is actually a negative slope. Ito yung x, no? Ito yung y. Okay, that is actually a negative slope, di ba? Pababa. Okay? Now, tingnan nyo. Pag nag-consider ka sa x2, tapos, what if dito yung x2 mo? Dito yung x2 mo. Papunta dito yung x2. For example, dyan yung x2. Okay, and then, you will cut the beam, di ba? Dito tayo mag-cut. So, anyway, pag nag-consider ka sa x2, guys, kung mapapansin mo, pag ang x2 mo is nasa kabila, tanggalin ko muna to ha. Yan. Paano ba to? Parang ganun. Okay, so ito yung y, and then ito yung x2 mo. Okay, so ganito, no? Yung slope mo. Yan. Notice, guys, na that slope is actually positive. Di ba? Positive yung slope mo. So, meaning, pag nag-boundary condition ka, okay, dito, hindi na ito yung gagamitin mo. Hindi na yan. Hindi na tatama. Okay? So, ang boundary condition mo dito, magiging y1, okay, 2a, y prime 2a, must be equal to the negative of y2 prime. Hindi na din yan 2a. Kasi dito ka if dito ka nag-refer, no? If dito yung reference mo sa x2, hindi na yan 2a, yung location na to. Ano yung location na to? A na lang. Okay? Which is why, kaya gaya nga na sabi ko, mas maganda talaga na same na lang yung, okay, location ng, same na lang yung location ng origin mo. Okay? Sa x1 at saka sa x2 para hindi ka na mahirapan sa mga boundary conditions, ganyan. So, magkakamali ka if ever, iba-iba yun. For example, yung x1 mo from here, yung x2 mo from here, from the right or from the left, mahirapan ka na. So, as much as possible, guys, have a uniform, okay, location sa x1 and x2 mo, yung origin nila. Okay, so, again, sa book, sinabi na sa left, so actually, pwede din to the right, as long as same lang yung location mo. Again, hindi, pwede din actually na iba-iba yung location, but mahirapan ka na and baka magkamali ka pa. Okay? So, anyway, burahin ko na lang to. So anyway, hindi ito magagamit at hindi natin ito magagamit, no? Ito kasi yung mga students ko sa mga students ko, please use, no, yung left na lang para hindi na kayo marapan. All right, depende na sa inyo, basta same dapat ang origin niya. Okay, para hindi kayo magkamali. So, yeah, meron na tayong 4 na boundary conditions, yan. Okay? So, sir, bakit hindi naging boundary condition, sir, ang same ang deflection, sir, dyan sa gitna. I mean, dito, sa C. Di ba, sir, same ang deflection sa C? Now, actually, guys, so, sir, pwede din pala, sir, na ganito. At y1 is equal to 2a, equal din sa y2 is equal to 2a. Considering deflection ba, hindi yung slope. Now, yes, actually, this is true. Yan, this is true. Pwede sana to gawing additional boundary condition, but actually, na-consider na natin yan. Okay? Na-consider natin yan indirectly dito sa dalawang boundary condition na to. Yan, oh. Dito at saka dito. Diba? y1 2a is equal to 0. y2 2a is equal to 0. So, indirectly na-consider na natin ang boundary condition na yan. Kaya, yung ginamit natin is slope na lang. Okay? So, anyway, meron na tayong 4 na boundary conditions. Now, let's check kung paano natin ito isosolve. Now guys, since meron kang 4 na boundary conditions, usually kasi 4 din yung equations na mangyayari. But if if marami ka nang nasolve ng mga problems na ganito, alam mo na kung saan ka dapat magsimula para makakuha ka agad ng constants. Okay, for example, tingnan nyo. By the way, buburahin ko muna to. For example, I will apply this boundary condition. Ito. ito. Yung sorry. Yan. I-apply ko yung boundary condition na yan na at at x1 is equal to 0, y1 is equal to 0. By the way, guys, that boundary condition is only applicable sa first, sa equation natin sa y1. Dito, nakalimutan ko yung y1. Diyan, hindi yan pwede gamitin sa kabila. Kasi nga, y1 lang, So, let's try to solve this boundary condition. Yan. Okay. So, at at x1 daw is 0, y1 is 0. So, meaning, this is now, i-substitute ko sandali, ilipat ko muna to. Yan. So, yung next, yung pang-apat natin na boundary condition is ito. Is equal to y1 prime 2a. Okay? So, this is the fourth boundary condition. Anyway, apply natin yung first boundary condition. So, y1, 0. So, i-substitute ko lang guys. Ito. Dito ko ilalagay ha. Yan. So, meaning, ano yung y1 ko? 0. So, meaning, this is now 0. Must be equal to, yan, negative 0.5p. Ano yung x1 ko? 0, diba? So, 0 cube. I think, alam nyo na kung ano yung mangyayari. Plus c1 times 0 plus c2. So, cancel. Okay, therefore, c2 is actually equal to 0. Yan, meron na tayong isang constant. Now, kailangan pa natin yung tatlo. Okay? Now, the next one, I think pwede ko itong i-apply. Ito. Yan. Okay? So, again, buburahin ko muna to. Buburahin ko lang muna. Okay, so, I'll try to substitute, instead of 0 daw, 2a daw. Okay? 2a daw ang x, ang y, 0. Okay, so, same pa din. Lalagay ko dito, again, ano yung y? Ano yung y1? 0. That must be equal to negative 0.5p. Ano yung x? 2a cube over 6 plus, tama ba? c1 times, ano nga ulit yung c2? Basta c2 is 0, Lagay lang natin, c2 is 0. Yan. So, plus, ano yung x natin? 2a. Tama ba? And then plus, ano yung c2? 0, di ba? So, with this, ito cancel out, Di ba, masosolve natin ang c1 dyan using algebra. Okay? So, let's try to solve for c1, guys. Transpose ko muna to so magiging 0.5. Ano ba yung 0.5 over 6? 0.5 over 6? I think 1 over 12. Yan, tama? 1 over 12. So, ano to? So, meron pa tayong 2 cube, So, anyway, dito ko na ilalagay. 1 over 12 times p times 2a cube. Okay? Plus, hindi pala. That must be equal to c1 times 2a. Okay? So, anyway, 2 cube is actually 8, So, 8 over 12. 8 over 12 times p. Ito na yung mahirap, guys. Especially pag variable yung given. Kailangan mo yung skills mo sa algebra. Tama ba? Okay? So, I can actually now solve for c1. Okay? Solve natin yung c1. Paano ba to? 8 over 12. And then divide that by 2. So, I think pwede na, So, this is now 8 over 24. So, simplify lang natin. 8 over 24, that's 1/3, So, meaning, C1, guys, okay, is actually equal to 1/3 P times A squared. Or, ganito na lang. P A squared over 3. Tama, Tama, makancel out kasi yung isang A. So, meron na tayong C1. Tama. Okay, so meron na tayong C1. Now, let's check daw kung masosolve natin yung sa kabila. So, yung C3, paano ba? Masosolve ba natin yung C3? I think hindi pa, So, paano ba to? Pag C3, masosolve ba natin yung C3? I think hindi, okay, pwede pala masosolve natin yung C3 if we will try to consider this boundary condition. Ito. Pag i-consider natin ang boundary condition na yan, masosolve natin ang C3. Okay, so buburahin ito, Yan. So, at y2 daw, yung slope natin, pag 2a daw, equal lang daw sa slope din sa kabila, pag 2a ang x. Okay? So, check natin yung slope dito sa sa y2. Okay? So, ang slope daw sa y2 pag ang x2 is 2a is same sa kabila pag ang x1 daw is 2a din. Okay? So, paano ba to? Diretso ko na lang. So, negative 3. Okay? PA. Ano yung x2 natin? 2a, di ba? Okay, ito yung boundary condition na ginamit ko. Ito. Yan, ito. Yan. So, 2a. So, again, ito yun ha. Ito yung slope ha. Slope yung tinitinan ko na equation. So, plus p times 2a squared over 2. And then plus c3. Dapat equal daw yan sa slope sa kabila. Provided na 2a din. Okay? So, check natin yung equation sa kabila. Ano yung equation ng slope? Negative 0.5 over 2p. So, ilalagay ko dito. Negative 0.5 over 2p. x1, di ba? Tama ba? x1. x1 squared pala. x1 squared. Okay? So, x1 squared or 2a squared. Plus, ano nga ulit yung c1 sa kabila? Yung c1 is pa squared over 3. Okay? So, pa squared over 3. So, plus PA squared over 3. Okay? Check nyo, di ba? This is actually the formula or the equation for dito. Ito, sa kabila. Yan, same lang yan. Yan, kanina. But, yung x1 natin is 2a and then yung c1 natin, na-solve na natin yung c1. So, sa equation natin na to, yan, actually, isa lang yung unknown. Ano yung unknown natin dyan? No, isa na lang. C3 na lang. So, we can actually solve C3. Kaso, napakataas na naman, no? So, let's try to solve for C3. I think mas maganda pag i-simplify muna natin. So, negative, 6p a squared plus 4 divided by 2. So, 2pa plus C3. That must be equal to, negative 1/2, no? 1/4. So, this is now negative pa squared lang, ata. Tama ba? Pati ako natatakot na din. 0.5 over 2. Okay, times 4. Tama, 1 lang. Okay, and then plus p over 3 a squared. Okay lang? I think tama man, no? Tama ba to? Check na natin. X1 squared kasi sa kabila. So, dapat okay, and then yung C1 natin is a squared din. Okay, so tama lang. So, let's try to solve, guys, for C3. So, solve natin yung C3. Paano ba ito natin solve yung C3? Combine mo natin yung lahat ng a squared. So, yung C3 ko siguro, this is now 2pa. And then, paano ko ba i-combine yung... Okay, so negative, negative pa squared. So, negative 1 plus 1 over 3. And then, plus 6. Okay? So, 16 over 3. Okay? So, may mali pala ako, kaya pala nagtaka ako. Dito guys, nakalimutan ko yung square dito, yan, no? See? Mas maganda talaga pag merong mga students na magsasabi sa akin. So, yan, nakalimutan ko yung square dyan. So, meaning, I can now actually solve for C3. So, check nyo yung calculator, ha? So, that is negative 6 plus 2. Kasi lahat kasi is PA squared, okay? So, yung constant lang yung gagamitin ko. So, negative 6 plus 2, tapos plus 1, okay? Or x. Tama na, x. Negative 6 plus 2x, kasi yung C3. That must be equal to negative 1 plus 1/3. Okay? Now, solving for x, yan. Makukuha kong x is actually 3.33 or, yan, 10 over 3. Therefore, C3, guys, is actually, yan, 10 over 3p a squared. Kaya pala nagtaka ko bakit dalawang term yung C3. Dapat isa lang kasing term. And then dapat same din dito sa kabila. Okay? Yan. PA squared. So dito dapat a squared din. Okay? Now let's try to solve daw sa C4, guys. Let's try to solve sa C4. Paano ba natin ito isa-solve ang C4? So meron tayong C3. Ang hirap, no? Don't worry, guys. Mas madali na to pag meron tayong mga values sa beam. This is yung number 2 at saka number 3 na problems. Okay, so sa pag-solve sa C4, guys, apply natin yung last boundary condition, which is ito. And apply natin to, yung boundary condition na yan. Okay, so sa boundary condition na yan, pag ang x2 daw is 2a, ang y2 daw is 0. Okay, check na natin. Saan na ba yun? Oh, by the way guys, buburahin ko na lang to. So, basta alam ko na ang C3 is actually 10 over 3 PA squared. Sandali, ilalagay ko na lang dito. Ano yun? Ang C2, sandali. C1 is equal to P A squared over 3. C2 is equal to, ano yung C2 ulit? 0 ata. C2 tama. C2 is 0. Ang C3 is 10 over 3. Positive ba? Negative? Tama, positive. PA squared. And then, ang C4 yung hindi natin alam. Okay? So, anyway, buburahin ko muna to para i-apply yung last na boundary condition. Now, sa last na boundary condition, ito daw, yung Y2 daw is actually equal to 0 pag ang X2 is 2A. So, check natin. EI times 0. By the way, ito yun ha. Yan yung gagamitin ko. That must be equal to negative 3 PA times 2A squared over 2. And then plus, P 2A cube over 6. And then plus, ano yung C3 ulit? 10 over 3 PA squared. Okay, so 10 over 3 PA squared na to. 10 over 3 PA squared and then multiplied by X na 2A. Okay, and then plus C4. Okay, so now we can actually solve daw ang C4. Okay, so anyway, gagamit na lang ako ng calcu guys. And then, same pa din guys, I will just consider the constants. Anyway, PA cube man lang ang variable natin. Okay, so negative 3 times 2 squared. Negative P times, negative 3 times 2 squared over 2. And then plus, 2 cube over 6. Tama, di ba? Okay. And then, plus 10 over 3 times 2. Tama ba? Check na natin ulit yung constants. Negative 3 times 2 squared over 2 plus 2 cube times 6 over 6 plus, okay, and then plus x na lang to. Okay, plus x, then this must be equal to 0. Okay, so solve natin yung C3. Ayan, so yung C3 natin is, C4 pala natin, no? C4 is now equal to negative 2 P A cube. Okay? So, yan yung C4 natin. So, with that guys, meron na tayong tatlong, yan. Once meron na tayo sa mga, negative 2 PA cube. Tama ba? Negative 2 PA cube. Yeah. So, once meron tayo yan guys, ang mangyayari is, we can now, alam na natin yung, meron na tayo. Okay, nakuha na natin yung equations. Sasagot na natin yung problem dito. Okay, so check na natin if same ba tayo nang nakuha dito sa Y2 niya, sa equation niya sa Y2. So substitute ko daw yung Y2. Ano yung Y2 ko dito? Yan. So anyway, simplify na natin. Tanggalin ko muna to. Yan, tanggalin ko muna. So simplify ko yung Y2. So EI Y2 is now equal to, ano yan? Negative 3 over 2 P A x2 squared. Okay, and then plus P x2 cube over 6 plus, ano yung C3 natin? Ang C3 is 10 over 3 PA squared. So 10 over 3 PA squared. Okay, multiplied by x and then plus or minus 2A, ayan, 2PA cube pala, 2PA cube, 2PA cube. So, dapat guys, ito, okay, dapat itong equation na to, dapat same to sa answer niya. Check na natin dito. Okay, so meron siyang x cube over 6. X cube over 6. So, hanapin na natin dito. Meron ba tayong x cube over 6 dito? Yeah, meron tayo. Ito, x cube over 6. So, okay lang. So, ang sunod, meron siyang negative 3 over 2 PA x squared. So, negative, ito yun, di ba? Yan, same lang ba? Negative 3 over 2 PA x squared. Tama, no? Tama? And then we have, dito meron siyang 10 over 3 PA squared x2. So, I think ito din yun. 10 over 3 PA squared x2. Nakalimutan ko, sorry. And then last, we have the 2PA yan. Ay, sorry. Yan, yung 2PA cube. Negative 2PA cube. Which is, ito din. Negative 2PA cube. Okay? So, anyway guys, so nakita natin, no? Same lang yung equations natin. Yan. Same lang. Okay? So, anyway guys, I think okay na tayo dito, no? Yan. So, again, medyo matagal, no? Kasi nga, of course, nag-solve ako, I'm actually explaining, no, the solution while nag-solve. But kayo siguro, it will just take 10 minutes siguro. Okay? So, 5 to 10 minutes sa pag-solve nito. So, anyway, guys, yun nga, again, i-recap ko kayo sa steps na ginawa natin. First, is yan. So, dapat, alamin mo muna kung ilan yung, yan. Alamin mo muna kung ilan yung number of equations. Okay, so ang number of equations dito is dalawa. Kasi dalawa yung moment equations natin. Dalawa yung segments natin. The next one, before kayo mag-cut, okay, just solve muna yung external supports. Okay, so after nyan, once na-solve nyo na yung external supports, okay, and then establish yung reference point niyo para sa x1 and x2. Okay, sa yung bang coordinates ba? Okay, coordinate points, establish yung origin. Again, gaya nga nasabi ko, mas maganda, no, pag same lang dapat yung location ng origin mo. Kasi pag hindi same, okay, para sa x1 at saka sa x2, medyo mahihirapan ka. Okay? And then, after nyan, yun nga, once okay na tayo sa values ng x1 at saka sa x2, pwede na kayong mag-cut, and then, yun nga, after nun, get the moment equations. Okay? So first, kunin mo muna lahat ng moment equation. So, dalawa yung moment equations natin for this beam. Okay? Yung isa is ito. Yan yung first moment equation. And then yung next is ito. Ito. Yan. Okay? Yan yung pangalawang moment equation natin. Or ito. Same lang yan. Okay? So, once meron ka ng moment equation, guys, again, anong gagawin mo susunod? Integrate twice. Okay? To get the elastic curve equation. So, yung elastic curve equation natin ito. Yan, elastic curve equation yan. So actually, ito na sana yung sagot. Kaso guys, dapat isolve natin yung constants of integration, yung C1, C2, C3, and C4. Okay, so apat yung constants mo kasi dalawang beses ka din nag-integrate, and then dalawang functions. So 2 times 2 kaya apat. Now, since apat yung constants of integration mo, apat din dapat ang boundary conditions na gagamitin to solve for this. Okay, problem. Now, ano yung mga boundary conditions na yun? Number 1, meron tayong tinatawag na boundary conditions due to the support. Okay, kung saan merong support, 0 ang, okay, elastic curve dyan, 0 ang y. Okay, sunod, meron tayong tinatawag na continuity condition. Okay, meaning, kung saan nag-meet yung dalawang curve ba, dalawang equation, same lang ang deflections or ang slope. Okay, ganun, continuity conditions. Okay, and then after nun, gamitin nyo na yung skills sa integration ninyo. So, kung mapapansin nyo, sa problem na to guys, dito sa problem na to, ang double integration lang na part actually is to create yung moment equations mo. The next part, integral calculus na. Okay? Integral calculus, algebra. Okay? So, kung magaling ka doon sa areas na yon, rest assured, no, makukuha mo din tong problems na to. Anyway guys, let's move on sa next problem para makasolve tayo para makita natin. Okay? So by the way guys, tingnan nyo, nasolve na natin yung elastic curve. Dito pala. Nasolve na natin yung elastic curves. Yan, equation. So ang tinanong dito is find the displacement at C. Okay? Now to solve pala the displacement at C, lipat ko muna yung equation natin dito. So yung y2, no? Dito na lang. So, EI y2 is equal to, ano yan? P over 6. That's P over 6 x2 cube minus 3 over 2 PA x2 squared, and then plus 10 over 3 P A squared x 2, and then minus 2 PA cube over, minus 2 PA cube lang pala, 2 PA cube. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, Okay, sorry. So, ang gagawin natin to solve for the displacement dito, to solve for the displacement at C, hanapin nyo lang yung value ng x2 sa C. So, x2 is actually equal to 3a sa C. Okay, so just substitute. Parang tinanong ka lang, what is y2 if x is equal to 3a? Parang ganun ba? Okay, so let's substitute 3a dito. So, ei y2 is equal to p over 6 3a cube minus 3 over 2 pa 3a squared, and then plus yan 10 over 3 pa squared times 3a, and then minus 2 pa cube. Ay, sorry. Yan. Notice guys na ang variables natin dyan is PA cube lahat. So, pwede tayong gumamit ng calculator. Check na natin dito. So, 1 over 6. Tama ba? 1 over 6 times 3 cube. And then, minus 3 over 2 times 3 squared. And then, plus 10 over 3 times 10 over 3 times 3. Okay, and then minus 2. Okay, so negative 1. Okay, so ang sagot natin dito is ei y is equal to negative, ano yan? 1 lang. So, 1 p a cube. Ano yan lang? Kaya yan yung sagot niya dito. Tingnan nyo. So, negative pa cube. But divide by ei. Kasi yung hinanap natin dito is yung y2 lang. So, y2 is equal to negative pa cube over ei. Diba? Negative PA cube. Ay, sorry. Yan, negative PA cube over EI. Okay? So, move on tayo, guys. Let's try to move on sa next problem. Medyo matagal pala, no? Matagal pala mag-explain tapos mag-solve. Anyway, ang next problem natin, medyo madali na kasi we will not be using algebra. Calculator na lang kasi ang mga values dito, constants man. So, hindi na tayo gagamit ng algebra. Okay? So, anyway, let's try to solve sa number 2. Ilipat ko muna yung problem number 2. Yan, lipat ko dito yung problem number 2. So, check natin. Lipat ko muna ha, yung values natin dito. Cantilever, no? So, yan. And then, okay. So, ano ba to? 12 kilonewton per meter. Okay. And then, yung dimensions, we have 4. Okay, now ito guys, maganda to kasi walang, hindi tayo sinabihan sa locations no, ng x1 at x2. So, kayo yung mag-decide. So, anyway guys, same pa din. Ang first na gagawin no, is try to determine muna kung ilan ang number of equations, moment of equations. So, the number of moment equations, obviously, dalawa. Bakit? Dalawa kasi yung discontinuity natin. Okay, due to the loads. Okay, so same lang ang load dito from here, okay, to here. And then, same din from there to there. Yan. Okay? So, actually, dalawa yung, yan. Ay, sorry. Sandali. Yan. Dalawa yung, uy. Paano ba to? Ay, sorry. Ba't ang laki? Sandali. Yan, dyan. Okay. So, anyway, dalawa yung moment equations natin. So, once alam na natin na dalawa yung moment equations, so alam nyo na kung saan mag-cut. Again, ano yung susunod? Establish the coordinates. Okay? So, kung ika-cut ko to dito, okay, likewise, dito din. So, saan yung mga x values ko? So, I think, para, no, sa purpose, no, para may pakita ko sa inyo na same lang yung sagot kahit sa left or sa right. So, dito ako magsisimula, oh. Diyan. So, ito na lang yung value ko for x1. Yan. x1. And then ito, this is now my value for, dito ako nag-cut, no? x2. Okay? So, once meron na akong values, no, ng x1 at x2 or locations, no, ng x1 and x2, ang susunod na gagawin ko is, yun nga, asan ako ano yung i-consider ko ba? Okay, ano yung i-consider ko na sections? So, now, guys, to avoid, actually, I can avoid solve, pwede ko itong hindi gamitin, no, ito. Pwede ko actually hindi i-solve yan if, okay, if ang i-consider ko na section is yung lahat to the right. For example, this cut, yan, yung cut na yan. What if ito yung i-consider ko? Yung kabila, yung left. So, ito na lang yung beam ko. Yan. So, parang, sorry. So, parang ganyan lang yung beam ko. Okay, so meron ba, hindi ko i-consider yung kabila. Likewise, dito din sa kabila, tingnan nyo ha, puputulin ko din dito. So, ang mangyayari guys, ang beam ko, parang ganito lang. Ganyan. Okay, parang ganyan lang din yung beam ko. Okay, so actually, hindi ko na isosolve yung reaction sa cantilever support. Okay, so proceed tayo. So, after nun, di ba, na-establish, establish pala natin yung direction sa x. So, x1 and then yung x2 is nandito. Yan, x2. Okay? So, after yan, guys, I think pwede na, no? Consider yung section and then create the moment function. So, first, i-consider ko muna yung unang cut, yung x1. So, sa x1, do you agree na ganito, no? Ay, sorry. So, this is 4m. Okay. Now, ang tanong guys, ano yung length nito? Okay. Now, ang beam natin, kanina, di ba, ganito yun? Ganyan. So, this is actually, dito tayo nag-cut, no? So, itong length na to guys, this is actually, yan. This is actually x1, no? x1 yan. But, ano yung length na to? Ito. Now, this is actually 8 minus x1. Agree kayo? Okay? I hope na-agree kayo. So, itong length na to, this is actually 8 minus x1 yan. Okay, sorry. Sandali. Yan. 8 minus x1. Okay? So, after yan, kailangan kasi natin yan. By the way, pinutol ko, no? So, maglalabasan ang internal reaction. So, meron akong moment dito. Again, positive moment ang assumption ko. Yan. So, meron akong moment dyan. So, with that, I can actually now solve my moment equation for this beam. Okay, so sama pa ko ng forces, sama pa ko ng moment, okay, equal to 0. Clockwise is equals counterclockwise. Dito ako nagsama pa dyan, kung saan ako nagputol. Okay, so clockwise is equals counterclockwise. So, ang clockwise moments ko, wala, no? Tama, wala. So, 0 yung clockwise moment ko. Ang counterclockwise moments ko, ano yung counterclockwise moments ko? Number 1 is yung m. But anong intensity nun? 12 kN no, per meter. Okay, number 1 is yung m. That is actually a... Uy, balang pangit yan. That is actually a counterclockwise moment. And then the other one is yung load natin. So yung load natin, meron siyang reaction dito. Yan. Okay. So yung intensity niya dyan, yung resultant niya is actually 12 times 4. This is actually 48 kN. Di ba? 12 times 4. Ano yung moment arm ng 48 kN na yan? Okay? So, ang moment arm ng 48 kN is actually from dito, no? Here to here. Ano yung distance na yan? Okay? So, ang distance na yan, guys, is actually 8 minus x1 minus 2. Di ba? So, this is actually 6 minus x1. Do you agree na 6 minus x1 yan? Parang ganito yan, ha? Check nyo, ha? Sorry, buburay ko muna. Sorry. Sandali ha. Sorry. Yan. Okay, parang ganito ba? Ito yung moment ko, no? M. Okay, tapos nandito yung resultant ng load, di ba? This is actually 2. Okay? Kasi ito yung kanina nandito. Okay? Okay, this is 48. Okay? So meaning, if this is actually 8 minus x1, I hope you will agree na this is actually ito. This is 6 minus x1. Di ba? So, I hope okay tayo ha, kasi kailangan natin yan, yung distance na yan, kasi yan yung moment arm ng resultant of the 12 kN per meter load. Okay? So, anyway, ang moment dito is m plus, 48 times 6 minus x1. Okay? So, I hope okay tayo. Again, ito yung 6 minus x1. Sir, saan galing yung 48? 48 is the resultant of the load. Okay, 12 times 4. So, after yan, guys, I think pwede na, no? Check na natin. Yeah, so m is equal to negative, 48, 6 minus x1. Okay, so anyway, simplify na lang natin. So, guys, same pa din kanina. Ito na yung moment equation natin. Ito na yung curvature. Moment curvature relationship. So, y1 double prime is equal to, ano tong negative 48 times 6? 48 times 6, ano yan? 228, no? So, negative 228, and then plus 48x1. Tama, no? Negative 228 plus 48x1. Okay. So, meron tayong, yan na yung first equation natin. Okay? So, anyway, integrate muna natin. Pwede natin integrate agad. So, EI y prime is equal to negative 228. Tama, no? 228 ba? Tama? Ay, 288 pala. Bakit 228 yung nakita ko? Sorry. That is actually 288. Sorry, guys. 288. Tama? 288. Plus. So, negative 288 x1. And then, this will be plus 48 x1 squared over 2. Again, huwag kalimutan ng plus c. Magagalit si ma'am. Okay? So, plus c1. And then, integrate again. Okay? EI y1. Wala na to. Okay? Okay? That must be equal to negative 288 x1 squared over 2. And then, ito plus 48 x1 cube over 6 kasi 2 times 3. And then plus c1x, again another constant. Magagalit si ma'am. Okay? So next, proceed tayo sa sa next equation natin. Again, you cannot solve, or again, mas maganda na wag mo nang i-solve yung mga constants of integration unless na-solve mo na lahat ng elastic curve equations or yung moment equations natin. So try ko solve yung kabila. So, okay na ako sa x1. Check ko na naman yung x2. Yan na yung x2. So, sa x2, guys, I will consider ito lang. Itong part na to. Okay? So, yan lang yung i-consider ko. Therefore, parang ganito yung mangyayari. Yan. So, ito lang. Okay, same pa din, di ba? Kung kanina, ano yun? Di ba? Parang ganito yan. Now, kung kanina, ang x2 is from here. Okay, ito yung x2, di ba? Yan, from here to here. So, meaning, this distance is actually 8 minus x2. Okay, I hope agree kayo dyan, ha? So, anyway, buburahin ko na lang to. Yan. Ay, sorry, ang pangit. Yan. So, anyway, naputol to dito, di ba? So, this is now, distance ito is 8 minus x2. And then, ito yung moment ko dyan. Kasi dyan ko pinuto. M. Same pa din, guys. Sama pa ko ng moment. Okay? Is equal to 0. Dyan, sa naputol ko dyan. So, clockwise is equals counterclockwise. Ano yung clockwise moments? Wala. Okay, wala. So, 0. Ano yung excuse me. Ano yung counterclockwise moments ko? So, ang counterclockwise moments ko is itong M. Sorry, guys. M, and then plus itong intensity, which is 12, no? So, 12 times 8 minus x over 2. I mean, x sub 2. And then multiplied by the moment arm na 8 minus x over 2. I mean, x sub 2 over 2. Okay? So, I hope agree kayo dyan sa equation na yan. Tama man, di ba? So, ang resultant is 12 times 8 minus x2. And then the moment arm is 8 minus x2 over 2. So, therefore, alam ko na yung moment equation ko. Ano yung moment equation ko dito? Negative, tama no? Negative 12, 8 minus x2 squared. Oh, hindi pala, may 2 pala. So, negative 6, 8 minus x2 squared. Tama ba? I think tama naman, no? So, anyway, guys, same pa din. Simplify ko muna para mas madaling i-integrate, no? So, ito na yun, no? EI y2 double prime is equal to negative 6. Simplify ko muna yung square root. Square, no? So, 8, naalala nyo pa? Naku po, yung algebra natin. Yan. Sandali. Yung A plus B squared. Naalala nyo pa? Ano nga ulit yung tawag dyan? This is actually A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. Okay? So, kaya hindi kayo aabot ng theory kung hindi kayo nakapasa sa algebra. Okay? So, therefore, I'll just assume na alam nyo na yung algebra. Okay? So, anyway, this is 8 squared, that's 64. Okay? So, 2AB, so 8 times 2, that's 16. So, minus 16x2, and then plus x2 squared. Okay, again, simplify ko pa ito, no? So, again, nag-simplify ako, hindi dahil ito na yung sagot. Nag-simplify ako para mas madali yung kuha sa integrals nito. So, negative 6 times 64. Negative 6 times 64, guys. Ano to? Negative 384. 384 minus, ano ito? 6 times 16. 6 times 16, that's 96. Tama na, positive to. So, ang hirap, baka may mali akong isang pagkakamali dito, guys. Alam nyo ba na, magre-record ako ulit. So, ano yan? Positive 96. 96 x sub 2, and then plus, or minus pala, minus x2 squared. Tama, no? Negative 6, 64, 6 times 16, 96. Minus, plus, and then minus. Tama. Okay? So, after nyan, guys, pwede ko nang i-integrate. So, integrate twice, guys. So, ei y prime, y2 prime is equal to negative 384x plus 96 x2 squared over 2. And then minus x2 cube over 3. Tama ba? Okay, tama. So, ei y prime, yan. Ay, sorry. Wala nang prime pala. So, integrate again. Ei y2 is equal to, integral niyan. So, that's negative 384x squared over 2. Tama, no? And then, plus, okay, 96x2 cube over 6. And then, minus x squared. So, ito, 4 na to. Plus 1, di ba? And then, 3 times 4, that's actually 12. So, ay, hala. Sorry, nakalimutan ko. Nako po, magagalit na naman si ma'am. So, meron plus C1 pala dito, no? Ay, hindi, C3 na kasi meron na tayong C1 at C2 kanina. So, this is now C3. So, ito, minus x2 4 over 12. Tama pa din pala, no? And then, plus C3x. And then, plus C4. Yan, okay? So, same pa din, guys. Apat ang, ano tawag doon? Apat ang, ano yung apat dito? Tama. Apat ang boundary conditions. Dapat apat din ang apat yung unknowns natin or yung constants of integration, C1, C2, C3, and C4. Dapat we must also have apat din na boundary conditions. Okay? So again, ano yung sinabi ko? Pag merong support, merong boundary conditions yan. Now, in this case, check natin yung beam natin. Yan. Sa beam na to, ang boundary condition natin dito, pag at x, okay, at x1, by the way, again, x1 guys will only, tingnan nyo dito sa beam natin, x1 values will only range from 0 to 4, diba? x1 values will only range from 0 to 4 kasi yung x1 represents the x values, no, for our first, okay, first na elastic curve equation, and then yung x2 represents the values of our values ng x sa second moment equations natin or sa second na elastic curve equation, which is sa B to A lang. And then yung first is from C to B. Okay? So anyway, yung pag ang x1 is 0, di ba yan yung first condition? Pag ang x1 is 0, from our figure, no? Tingnan nyo. Pag 0 ang x1, pag dito ba? Yan. Pag 0 ang x1, y1 is 0 din. Okay? First boundary condition, yan. So ilalagay natin dito. BC. Yan, BC's. Boundary condition before, hindi na lang, baka sorry. So, before calculus, anyway. So, ano yung boundary condition natin dyan? Tama, at x is equal to 0, x1 pala. Hindi pwedeng x2 ha. Again, x2 values will only range from 4 to 8. So, at x1 is equal to 0, y1 is equal to 0. Now, again, this is a fixed support. Ano yung tinuro ko last time sa previous video natin? Pag fixed ang support, the slope is actually 0 din. Therefore, okay, by the way, yan, pwede nating isulat yan na ganito. Y1, yan yung first boundary condition natin. Okay? Now, the second boundary condition is ito. Okay? At x1 is still equal to 0, the slope, yan, y1 prime, is actually 0 din. Therefore, pwede ko doon itong ganito. Yan, okay? Yan yung second boundary condition ko. Now, believe it or not, guys, using these two conditions, we can actually solve, okay, we can now actually solve, ito, yung equation para sa x1. Asan na yung x1 natin? Yan. We can actually now solve the equation of x1, yung elastic curve equation. But anyway, tinuro ko naman sa inyo no, na isolve muna natin, kunin muna natin lahat ng boundary conditions before actually substituting no, yung boundary conditions natin. So let's solve muna sa the other two boundary conditions. Now notice na isa lang yung support natin dyan, fixed. Okay? Isa lang yung support natin, fixed. Now, ang mangyayari guys, since wala na tayong ibang support, gagamit tayo ng continuity condition. Saan nagdikit no yung elastic curves for BC and BA? Nagdikit sila or nagmeet sila dito sa point B, obviously. Therefore, pwede nating sabihin na at point B, okay, or at x is equal to 4, mapa x1 or x2, okay, at x1 is equal to 4 and at x2 is equal to 4, okay, yung y2 and y1 are equal. Boundary condition number 3. Okay? So, meaning, at x2, yan. At x1 is equal to 4, okay? And at x2 din is equal to 4, okay? y1, okay? I mean, y2 is equal, y1 is equal to y2. Yan. Okay? Diba? Equal yung deformations nila. So anyway, pwede natin gawin to. Y1, 4 is equal to Y2, yan, 4. Okay? The value of Y1 if X is equal to 4 is equal to the value of Y2 if X is equal to 4. Knowing na same lang yung deflections nila dyan sa B. Okay? So again, continuity equation and then another continuity equation is yung slopes. Okay? Same pa din. By the way, ito yung asan yun? Yan. And then the last boundary condition natin is same pa din. Ilagay lang natin dito at x1 is equal to 4, x2 is equal to 4. The slopes are also yan, equal. Yan. Okay, so pwede natin ilagay dito y1 prime pag 4 is equal to y2 prime pag 4. Yan. So apat na boundary conditions dapat makukuha din natin ang sagot. So let's substitute. So first, substitute ko tong unang boundary condition. Yan. Yan yung first boundary condition. So, pag 0 daw ang y1, pag ang x is 0. Ano yung equation natin sa y1? Yan. Dito na lang, lalagay natin dito. So, kung 0 to guys, if this is 0, yan, ei times 0, tapos 0, 0 kasi x1 squared is 0. Diba? x1 squared is 0. C1, so 0 din to, plus C2. So, meaning, cancel. Meaning, C2 is equal to 0. So, C2 is equal to 0. Yeah, meron na tayong isa. Okay, isang constant of integration. So, burahin ko na lang to. Okay, so C2 pala guys is equal to 0. Ilalagay ko na lang dito. So, C2 is equal to 0. Yan. Okay, now let's check ang C1. Now, ano yung gagamitin kong boundary condition ito? Okay? 0 daw ang slope pag x is 0 din for x1. Okay, so check natin dito. Ano yung equation ng slope? Ito. So, same pa din. ei 0. So, x1 is 0. So, 0 plus c1. Di ba? So, cancel. Ay, nako po. Very easy, no? So, c1 is still equal to 0. Yan. Therefore, pwede na natin isolve yung equation na to. Meron na tayong elastic curve equation. Okay? So, isulat ko na lang dito yung elastic curve equation para madali. So, ito na yung elastic curve equation natin. EIY is equal to negative 288 x1 squared over 2 plus 48 x1 cube over 6 plus yung C1 natin is 0. So, yan lang. Ito lang pala. So, parang cubic lang no, yung equation natin. Yan na yung sagutin nyo. Okay? But, hindi natin masosolve yung, ang tanong kasi sa problem, tinan nyo, tanong sa problem, determine the equation of the elastic curve. Now, yung nakuha natin kanina, that is just for A to B. Ano yung B to C? Okay? So, ang B to C, isosolve pa natin. But, tama ba ito? X1. Asan ba yung X1 natin? I think yung nakuha ko. Okay, hindi pala. From B to C, tama. From B to C pa lang yan. Okay? From B to C yung equation natin na nakuha. This is actually yung Y1 kasi from B to C. Tama. Now, baka mali yung tama pala. Okay? So, now, ang gagawin natin is, let's try to solve for the other equation, yung C3 and C4. So, apply ko yung boundary condition. By the way, guys, again may mga techniques tayo later on na, may mga techniques tayo guys later on na pag nalaman nyo ba na, ito yung unahin ko na i-apply na boundary condition, okay, to avoid multiple equations, okay. For example, ganito, asan dyan yung uunahin mo na boundary condition? Ito or ito, diba? Pag ito yung inuna mong boundary condition, dalawa yung unknowns mo, C3 and C4. But pag ito yung boundary condition na inuna mo, isa lang yung unknown mo. Okay? Which is C3 lang. Okay? Check natin guys. So, check na natin. I-apply natin to. Ang slopes niya equal daw pag x, okay, is equal to 4. So, slope equation muna. Ilalagay ko muna to dito. So, x is equal to 4. So, negative 384 times 4 plus, ito yung maganda kasi hindi na tayo gagamit ng algebra, over 2 minus 4 cube over 3 plus C3, that must be equal sa slope equation sa kabila, provided na x is equal to 4 din. So, ano yung slope equation dito sa kabila? Negative 288 x1. So, this is negative 288 times 4. Ano yung sunod? 288 x1. 48 x1 squared over 2. 48 x1 squared over 2. Okay, plus ba yun? Nakalimutan ko. Tama, plus 48 x1 squared over 2. Plus 48, 4 squared over 2. Okay? So anyway, with this, I can actually now solve my C3. Okay? Again, sorry guys sa mga adlibs na aso. Okay, solve muna natin yung C3. So, negative 384 times 4 plus 96 times 4 squared over 2. Okay, minus, tama ba? Okay, minus 4 cube. Okay, over 3. And then plus x3. Tama, no? 4 cube plus x3. That must be equal to negative 288 times 4. And then plus 48 times 4 squared over 2. Okay, so shift solve natin. I hope tama lang, no? So, ano yan? 21.33. Something's fishy. Check natin. Bakit kaya may decimal, no? Anyway, nawala yung equation ko. Sandali. Okay, okay guys, kaya pala C, may mali ako. Anyway, napansin ko na decimal ba yung x natin na nakuha. Hindi ko napansin na hindi ko pala na-transfer yung negative 6 dito. So, i-transfer ko na lang to. This is now in negative. Naku, ang hirap. Negative 6x2 squared. So, lagyan ko na lang to ng 6 dito. Yan, tama, no? Tama. And then, lagyan ko na lang din ng 6 dyan. Okay? So, anyway, ang mangyayari, dito, meron lang 6. Buti na lang, no? So, tama. Dito, merong 6. Yan, nakalimutan ko. So, yan. Unfortunately, hindi ko alam kung meron na tayong app dito, no, na kayang mag-solve, no, using double integration. Okay, sa calculator. But, yun nga, mangyayari, guys, calculator sa app natin. But, ang mangyayari, you can only check your answer pag meron ka ng value ng deflection mo using our app. Okay? But pag meron kang mali while you are solving, medyo mahirap, no? Mahihirapan ka na i-check, no, na may mali pala. Now, one thing, no, na one way of checking kung merong mali is actually yung nakuha nating constant kanina, which is, ano nga ulit yun? Yan, 21.333. Malabong mangyari, guys, na decimal yung constant mo. Okay? Yan, 21.333 kasi lahat ng reactions natin, yung mga loads natin na ginamit is whole number. Okay? So, I think malabong mangyari na merong ganito, 21.333. Kaya naisipan ko na may mali ako. So, kaya chinek ko. Okay? Kaya pala, may mali pala sa equation ko. Anyway, check na natin ulit yung value ng C3. Yan, check natin ulit yung value ng C3. So, negative 384 times 4 and then plus 96 times. Now, I think, yun, so kayo siguro nakita nyo na kanina yung mali ko. Kaso nga lang, yun nga yung mahirap, hindi natin wala kasing communication pag ganito. So anyway guys, sa mga students ko dyan, don't worry, meron tayong live session, no? So kung saan pwede nyo itanong lahat ng hindi nyo naintindihan dito sa video na to. Okay, plus C3 equal to, ayan, negative 288, nandito pala sa screen, times 4, and then plus 48 times 4 squared over 2. Check na natin yung sagot. Yan, 128. Okay, so anyway, I hope na tama, no? Negative 384 times 4, 96. Tama man ata? Tama man ata. Tama. So anyway, C3, positive ba yan? Tama, positive 128. So C3 is equal to 128. Yan. So ilalagay ko na lang dito ulit. So C3 is 128. Okay? And then last is yung C4. Now, how can I solve for C4, guys? I can actually solve for C4 if ito, buburahin ko muna to. Okay, apply ko yung second boundary condition. Okay, yung second boundary condition natin is asan yung second boundary condition? Ito pala. Ito yung gagamitin natin na ang deflection daw sa dalawa pag x is equal to 4, x1 4, x2 4, equalan daw. Okay, so anyway, susulat ko na dito. Yan, so I think tama naman to, no? So 6 na nga tayo yung na iba. Okay, so anyway, isulat ko muna yung deflection sa y2 pag x is equal to 4. So negative 384 times 4 squared over 2 plus 96 times 4 cubed over 6, and then minus 6x squared over 4. Ayan, ay sorry, bakit may x squared yan? 6 times 4 to the power 4 over 12, and then plus C3. Ano nga ulit yung C3? Positive 128, no? Positive 128. Yan, 128, and then times x lo na 4 plus C4. Now that must be equal to the deformation sa kabila if x is equal to 4. So ano yung deformation sa kabila? Negative 288 over 2x squared. So negative 288 over 2 4 squared, and then plus ba yun? Nakalimutan ko. Plus, tama, plus 48 over 6 x1 cube. Okay, so 48 over 6 4 cube. Okay, so guys, with this you can actually solve for C4. Okay, check na natin yung C4 natin. Yan, check natin yung C4. Sandali. Hindi niyo nakikita yung... okay. Okay. So anyway, let's check for C4. Negative 384, no? Saan ba yan? Negative 384 times 4 squared over 2. Now, don't worry sa mga students ko dyan. Isang problem lang yung lalabas para sa double integration. I mean, ang isa is variable, ang isa hindi, ang isa constant na lang siguro, negative 384 times 4 squared over 2 plus 96 times 4 cube minus 6 times 4 to the power 4. Ang haba, my god, over 12, and then plus 128 times 4. So anyway, store ko na lang to sa A. Yan. So A is equal, and then plus x. That must be equal to negative 288 over 2 times 4 squared plus 48 over 6 times 4 cube. Tama ba? Okay, so anyway, check na natin. Shift solve natin yung value ng x. So x, ano ba yung value ng x? Oh yeah, negative 128. So negative 128 ang C4. Okay? So akala ko may mali. Negative 128 ang C4. Yan. So since meron na tayo niyan, okay? Now meron na tayong equation. Now, I hope na hindi na kayo na board, no? So anyway, ma-check natin, no, yung equations natin, yung sagot natin. Simplify ko muna dito sa calcu. So we are actually interested, no, sa deflection at C. I mean sa A pala dito sa problem. Since we are interested sa deflection at A, kailangan natin yung elastic curve from A to B. Okay? Or yung Y2. So, i-transfer ko muna yung Y2 na deflection. So, ang Y2, buburahin ko to ha. Okay, so ang deformation or yung deflection sa Y2 is actually equal to, yan, Y2 is equal to negative, ano yung negative 3? Anyway, ito na lang yung ilalagay ko. 384 over 2x squared. Okay, by the way, this is EI, no? Negative 384 over 2x squared, ano yan? Plus 96x2 cube over 6 minus 6, yan, 4 over 12, and then plus 128x and then minus 128. So yan, ito yung yan yung elastic curve equation. Yan yung equation ng elastic curve para sa A to B. So let us check daw kung tama ba yung sagot natin. Okay? So let's try to solve for the deformation at A. Okay? So to solve for the deformation at A, guys, ito yung gagawin natin. We will try to type, no, itong equation, yung napakataas na equation na yan, negative, ano yan? Negative 384 over 2 x squared and then plus 96, okay, 96 x cube, tama ba? 96 x cube over 6 and then minus 6 x squared, sorry, x to the power 4 pala, x to the power 4 and then we have 12. Okay, and then plus 128x and then minus, napakataas na 1 minus 128. So yan, yung whole equation na yan, yan yung elastic curve natin. Check na natin kung tama ba. Minus 6x squared over 4, 12 plus, tama. So, by the way, yung elastic, this is not the value of our, hindi yan yung value ng Y2. So to get the Y2, we need to divide this by EI. So, i-divide natin by EI, guys. Divided by EI. Ano yung EI natin dito? 70 at saka 500. Okay, 70 at saka 500. So, 70 times 500. But, sagot kasi natin sa Epic Fem, multiply natin to by 1,000 kasi in meters kasi yan. So, multiply by 1,000 para maging millimeter. Yan. So, yan. Uy, may mali ata tayo dito. Check na natin. So, I think okay lang pala. Sorry. So, I think okay na, no? Na-type na natin yung deflection, yan. So, 382, yan. Divide by 70 times. Kasi nga, yung EI natin dito, yan, yung EI natin is actually 70 and 500. Anyway, check natin. So, ang sagot natin, okay? So, meaning, if you are trying to solve for the deflection at A, check nyo. So, yung deflection at A, ang sagot niyan is, if ang x2 is equal to 8, di ba? If ang x2 is equal to 8, what is A? So, calculate natin to. Yan. Calculate. If x is equal to 8, yan, 8. So, ang sasagot dyan is actually 8, yan, 149.94. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, negative means nasa ibaba, no? So, meaning negative 149.94 millimeter. So, ano, medyo mga 10 cm siguro, no? Or 14, 15 cm. So, anyway, guys, again, check nyo dapat same lang sila. 384 over 2. Now, ang tanong, sir, tama ba yung sagot mo? Okay, ito yung problem natin, if tama ba. Now, to check guys, if tama yung sagot nyo, dito na papasok yung Epic Fem na sinasabi ko sa inyo. So, again, if nanood kayo sa mga previous videos, try to open your Epic Fem. Yan. Open natin. So, anyway, sa akin, naka-open na kasi. So, and then, apply natin yung loads. Ilagay ko muna yung load natin sa beam natin. Okay. Uy, hindi nyo nakikita yung Epic Fem. Check ko muna, ha. Yan, ito pala. Sorry, may error pala dito. So, yan. So, ito yung Epic Fem. Again, gagamitin natin to. So, let's try to apply yung loads natin sa beam. So, gawa tayo ng cantilever beam. So, lalagay ko to. And then, yung support nasa, asan yung support? Nasa 8, no? At x is equal to 8. Okay, so, meron niyang fixed support. Yan. So, meron tayong beam dyan. And then, meron tayong uniformly distributed load from 0 to 4 with an intensity negative 12. Yan, negative 12. Okay? And then after nyan, ano ba? Yung property, now importante guys, if you'll try to solve for the deflection, if deflection yung hinahanap natin, dapat iset nyo yung property ng E at saka ng I. Okay? Para same tayo ng sagot. Now, ang modulus of elasticity, makikita nyo yan dito sa material yan. Okay? So, nilagay ko na agad, no? 70 GPa. Okay? And then, iset nyo guys ang density into 0. Now, minsan hindi niya tatanggapin yung 0, kaya ilagay nyo lang 0.0000001. Okay? Para at least wala tayong dead load, para walang additional load sa beam natin. Okay? So, apply. Yan. And then, likewise, yung I naman, yung moment of inertia, makikita natin yan dito sa section ng beam. Diyan. So, piliin natin to, piliin nyo to, yung IA, okay? So, yung moment of inertia at saka yung area lang, and then i-input ninyo ito. So, i-input nyo dyan, 500, no? 500, yan, 500 times 10 to the 6, diba? So, 500, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? And then, yung area nyo, again, kahit ano man siguro, pwede nyo i-apply sa area dyan, hindi naman magbabago, okay? So, click apply. Yan, so meron ka ng beam, and then check natin check natin kung same ba tayo ng sagot dito sa calculator natin na negative 149.94. Yan, click nyo to. Yan, di ba? Same tayo ng sagot, negative 149.94. Now, ang maganda dito sa elastic curve equation natin, kasi kahit saan dyan sa beam, basta along from A to B, you can actually solve the deformation. Okay, for example, dito sa gitna, at x is equal to 4, dyan sa gitna. Okay? So, calculate tayo. Calculate at x is equal to 4. Ano yung deformation? Yan o, 51.2. Which is, check na natin kung same ba. Tama, di ba? 51.2. Okay? Check na natin at x is equal to 6. Bali, nandito. Yan, at x is equal to 6. Okay? Kasi, from the right kasi tayo yung axis natin ba? From the right kasi yung x. So, calculate at x is equal to 6. Dapat same yan. Yan o, 98.97, di ba? So, ito yung maganda. Ito. Yung nakuha natin na equation, guys, yan actually ang equation ng elastic curve. Okay? Yan o, you can actually move this, and then you can, ito, yung equation dito, yan yung nakuha natin dito. Ito yun. Asan yan? Yan. Ito yung nasa calculator natin. Okay? So, any deformation, actually, pwede din dito, ito yung isa, pwede mo rin gamitin yan. Okay? Check na natin kung tama ba yung answer natin sa kabila. Ano yan? Negative 288x squared over 2. What if no? Mali. 48 over 6 x cubed. Okay? And then divide this by, saan na yun? 70 and 500. 70 and 500, but multiplied by 1,000 kasi nga in millimeter. Okay, check na natin. At calculate at x is equal to 4 kung 50 ba din. Tama, di ba? So, check niyo check natin dito. Yan. So, hindi ka pwedeng mag-apply ng, tingnan nyo, pag calculate at x is equal to 8. Tingnan nyo, sir, bakit mali, sir? Kasi yung sagot natin dapat 149, bakit 146 sa kanya? You cannot use this as hindi mo to pwedeng gamitin. Itong equation na to, pwede lang tong gamitin sa segment dito from B, from B to C. Kasi ito yung equation sa curve from here to here. Okay? Yan, yung nasa calculator nyo, hindi niya pwedeng gamitin para dito. So, i-check nyo. Pag nandito, at x is equal to 4, tingnan nyo, calculate at x is equal to 4. Di ba? Tama yan, di ba? 51.2. Check nyo, at x is equal to 2. Dito sa gitna, yan. Yan, okay? So, dapat 14 din yan. Calculate at x is equal to 2. Tignan nyo. Diba? 14.63. See? So, ito yung maganda sa pag elastic curve equation yung nakuha mo. Kasi, pag meron ka ng elastic curve equation, any part sa beam, or along the length of the beam, no, any deflection, kaya mong i-solve. In fact, kaya mong i-draw, okay, or kaya mong pwede nyo i-draw to using Excel or kung ano yung gamitin nyo. Yung equation na yan, that is actually the equation of this curve, yung elastic curve na yan. Okay? Now, unfortunately guys, hindi ito practical, especially sa board exam. Okay? Now, depende na lang kung tatanungin ka talaga sa moment equations. Okay? Now, sa ibang mga problems at specific point lang, for example, what is the deformation dito sa A? What is the deformation dito sa B? See? So, useless na i-derive mo pa yung moment equations. But, don't worry guys, kailangan pa din niyo to if ever sa board exam, tatanungin kayo talaga sa moment equations talaga. Okay? So anyway guys, I think kinulang tayo sa oras, no? So I hope na alam niyo na kung I think na may natutunan kayo and how to check din yung mga answers niyo. Okay? So anyway, yan lang muna guys. Paano ba to? Yan lang muna guys, and then continue lang tayo sa live discussion natin para sa especially sa CA 361 na mga students ko. Okay? So I hope may natutunan kayo, especially sa mga subscribers ko na nagtitake ng theory of structures na klase. So yan lang muna. Maraming salamat sa panonood, and of course, see you sa next video namin. Okay? So bye-bye. Ay, sorry guys, may pahabol pala. Ano ta doon? Sa number 3, ito yung problem number 3 ito. I think hindi na kaya sa oras. So anyway, ito na lang yung activity na ibibigay ko sa mga students ko. So yung mga students ko dyan sa C361, ito yung activity na isosolve niyo. Okay? Para sa topic na to, yung equilibrium, yung double integration method. Okay, so maraming salamat. Again, maraming salamat sa panonood. And yun nga, see you sa next video natin. Sige.